Oh, you really think someone will slit your throat, Vayman? Ain't nobody like you. Hey guys, it's your girl Aisha, aka Geek XX Chic, and I am finally back. I know I had to take a little break. I literally moved. As you can see, my surroundings are a little different. This is a temporary setup. I'm still not exactly sure how things are going to pan out as far as the background's going to look like, but for now, I just wanted to make sure I got a reaction back out there. I know that House of the Dragon is so late, but again, I apologize. I was in the middle of moving, and doing recordings during that time was just impossible for me. So I am finally back, trying to catch up. I know I'm a little bit late here. I've done my best to avoid spoilers for this episode. So yes, anything I say here that sounds like, what, we already know that, or it's not correct, please remember I'm recording this about a week and a half late. So again, apologies for the lateness, but hopefully we will be caught up very soon and in a space that's a little less busy as the one I'm in right now. But for now, like I said, temporary situation. You might see this background change a few times before I find some place a little bit more permanent for the time being. But yes, that is the situation. And if you saw my YouTube update, then you already know that this is kind of an in-between period for me as far as finding a place and all those good things. So yeah, we might see a few changes here and uploads might be a little bit stuttered at the moment, but I will be back on track as soon as I can be. Okay, so we are now doing episode 8 of House of the Dragon. I'm very excited to jump back in. The last time we saw anything, we saw that Rhaenyra and Daemon had finally gotten married. And I say finally in the sense that they clearly been looking at doing that for a while. But now with the death of our beloved Lena, and of course, the death of Laenor, aka him finally getting to go live the life that he wants, Rhaenyra is in a position where she can marry Daemon, and actually she's really desperate to do so because the whole kingdom basically knows that her children are not legitimate, and we have that girl, that chick, that woman, her stepmama out here trying to do everything she can to get her son on the throne and do everything she can to discredit Rhaenyra, and it doesn't help that the old gross hand is back in his job, and he is definitely pushing to get all of his family, the Greens, into the power, and to get all of the House Black out. So lots of drama still happening. I believe we're getting another time jump in this episode, so we'll see what happens now that the kids are a little bit older. And it seems like Rhaenyra's children, at least the oldest one, is very much aware of the situation, but he's playing along. But what will happen if they do have to go back to King's Landing? Because right now they're hiding out at Dragonstone, or not Dragonstone, Driftmark. And at some point, if Rhaenyra is supposed to take that crown, she's going to have to go back and face her actual demons. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in this episode, and we're about to jump in. But before I do, if this is your first time to my channel, welcome. I do reactions here to shows like this. Like I said, it's going to be a little bit jumpy at the moment, but generally I do weekly reactions to different shows. If you're interested in watching me do that, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and join the family, as well as the notification bell so you know when I do uploads. And if you like this video, I'd appreciate it so much if you gave some love to that like button as well. Left some comments below. I love engaging with you guys. And for those of you who've been here before, welcome back. Thank you so much for coming back and for your patience while I'm going through all of this chaos. And yeah, same for you. Join the family if you haven't already. All right, with that out of the way, guys, let's get into the episode right about now.
In the fighting, his neck was slashed by a courser's dagger. He fell overboard into the sea. The wound was severe. Ship's maester said, it burns from within.
Wow. Poor Rhaenys. She's really had a crap time of it.
And yet I have seen blood fever overcome men half his age.
I will not suffer the talk of crows in my house, Vayman.
Thank you.
I love my brother.
Do you?
My grandmother seems quite comfortable here.
She
Piri.
Be careful, good brother.
Right?
None can take your words for treason.
Oh? Is this Bela? Because I like her attitude already.
Driftmark is mine.
Oh?
By all rights.
Okay.
But it's not a king who sits the Iron Throne these days, good sister.
Damn it.
It's a queen.
A lot to think about. These second sons, I'm telling you. He's like Daemon, only not as bold. And his name's Vayman. Daemon Vayman. Oh my gosh. Anyway. What in the cliffhanger? A dragon's egg? Is this literally the way you have to find dragons eggs? You just gotta hunt in the middle of crevasses?
Meister Kesimadas, Sir Mastas, and Drift Markot, Abrasma Bela.
Remember your daughter? Wow, she wasted no time getting pregnant. That's one thing we gotta say Rhaenyra is pretty good at. Which one is this now?
I don't expect you to learn High Valyrian in a day, Jace.
A king should honor the traditions of his forebears.
I was about to say, why are you just learning now? Should you even learn this as a child?
He means to call into question Luke's legitimacy.
Yeah, like everybody.
By extension.
And yet she's taken Baelor to ward.
Yes, it's Laena's memory she honors. She has no love for us.
Fair enough.
To King's Landing, then.
And if you birth that baby and that baby come out with the white hair, we all know you're basically proving their case. Like, this is where this whole plan falls apart for me. Like, how messy is it? They're gonna see that you're a baby. This one with Daemon is gonna look exactly like the way its cousins do.
Princess of Dragonstone and heir to the Iron Throne, and her royal consort, Prince Daemon Targaryen.
No one to greet you?
Of which, the Septons have requested half that again for a...
How is this man still at the table? He's been dead for 40 years. Oh, she's sitting in her husband's chair. Well, look at that, Alicent. Alicent looking crusty these days, though.
The boy has been raised most of his life away from Driftmark. He can fly a dragon, yes, but can he command a fleet?
Goodbye, Lannister.
It's about the prince. There's been a delicate situation in his apartments.
Delicate? Is he still actually alive? For real? I checked for a pulse, because I feel like he's been dead for a minute. Oh, come on, Daemon, don't be such a coward. Oh no. Oh, like, do you even take his hand? Is it still there? Can't even look at him. Look at him, Daemon. That's your brother. Oh, they still haven't given this man a haircut?
There is a petition to decide upon the succession of Driftmark and the heir to the Driftwood throne.
Look at the way Daemon's acting like he's a 5-year-old. My lord, he can't even look at the light. He's turned into a full vampire.
Who is that?
Oh, this is their second.
This is Aegon.
Aegon.
Another.
And this is Viserys.
This is their third? My God, slow down, sis. Has your womb had a break? Look at the baby's feet. That baby is like, do not touch me. Get the Crypt Keeper away. The babies are like,
My tea.
This?
Yes.
Tea or milk of the poppy. I mean, this is just such a slow and miserable way to die. Yep, he's smelling it. Something ain't right. What's in this tea? Let me guess. Aegon? Devil's son of yours.
I understand you found yourself in some trouble.
Herself?
I didn't see him. I asked him to stop. Your Grace.
Don't you hug her. Don't you dare hug her when you're about to protect that little jerk. Nasty.
Thank you for telling me, Diana.
Because now I have to kill you.
It's what others might believe. And though I believe you are not to blame, others might not be so trusting.
The manipulation. Oh, from a woman to another woman. This is disgusting.
That you're the sort of girl that might have enticed him in the first place. And you know what happens to girls like that.
You should know, Alicent. You're one of them.
The tea.
I thought the tea was coming. That's assuming it's even just the tea. It's probably more than that. Look at you pouring that like you poured it a few times there, queen. And you had the nerve to be mad at Rhaenyra all these years over her having a sip. Yeah, look at her face. It's poison. No, look her in the eye while you do it. Come on, you're such a badass. Look her in the eye, Alicent. Trash.
Aegon!
What are you even coming to his house? Why are you bothering the boy? Why are you bothering him? You raised him to be like this.
Diana.
Doesn't even know her name.
Deserving girl.
Doesn't care.
Why? What is it today?
Why bother? He probably likes it.
You are no son of mine.
Oh no, he is 1,000% yours. That is all House Hightower right there.
I've done everything you've asked me to. I try so hard, but it will never be enough for you or
Yep, exactly. You made that monster, Allison. You did.
It's been so long since we were granted the joy of your presence.
Yeah, I love that they focused on her scar.
What can either of us know of ruling a kingdom?
I do not rule, as you well know.
Oh, really?
Tell me, for the king's suffering, did the maesters also prescribe the removal of Targaryen heraldry and the installation in its stead of various statues and stars?
Mm-hmm. Now these boys look way too much like their father. It's actually insulting. Like, spitting image.
Nephews? Have you come to train?
Goodbye. I didn't think it was possible for him to look more demonic. I was wrong. Oh, Vaemond, you little bitch.
The next Lord of the Tides will be deeply in your debt, Your Grace. As will Driftmark, in all its strength.
Oh, you really think someone will slit your throat, Vaemond? Ain't nobody like you. Ain't nobody like you!
Might I speak to the princess alone, Rhaena?
I like that the girl's hair is different. Just a little side note. One's got hair more like her mother, the other one more like her grandfather.
To proclaim my son illegitimate.
Yet you did worse than that with Laenor.
I mean, she didn't.
Did you not?
But it looks bad, and you can't tell her the truth.
I did not order his death.
Per se.
Nor was I complicit in it, I swear this to you.
Because he's not dead.
But tomorrow the High Towers land their first blow. They force you to your knees. And I must stand alone.
I love the dynamic between these two because they're both in such a similar position but playing it so differently. And unfortunately, she's right, Rhaenyra. You created this situation. All you had to do was find somebody who even looked like Laenor to have them babies with. You was too reckless, girl. You was too reckless. And it's true. All Rhaenyra has got is Driftmark, and she's about to lose that to the bastard brother-in-law who won't toss her ass out.
My only child.
You three, okay.
If you wish me to bear it, then defend me. And my children.
That's such a poignant line, though, for him to say my only child when he got 3 more. Do I even want to see this back? I don't think I do.
The whole of my family are gathered at the Red Keep. I want us to die together.
Okay. Like I said, that man pretty much died like 5 years ago. Okay. You stand up on your 2 legs, sir. Look at the CGI. Good job, team. He looks terrible.
This is about the future and survival of my house, not yours.
The part that makes me sad about this is that it's actually Rhaenyra's children that are suffering for this.
Princess Rhaenyra, you may now speak for your son, Lucerys Velaryon.
It's Luke to you.
King Viserys of House Targaryen.
Oh, look at him hobbling
The first
up.
of his name. King of the Andals.
The White Walkers came early.
And the Lord of the 7 Kingdoms and protector of the realm.
Get out his chair, please, with your ugly self. Got a little too comfortable in that chair. You didn't expect that, did you? That is the strength of somebody's baby. That's the strength of blood. Oh, the mask. The mask is kind of badass, though. The mask is badass. Oh, God. Do they not have a chair? Guys, this is moving. Viserys is a mess, and he did make a mess, but I have to give him props. Like, he's dead ass about the love for his family. He is dead ass. What's more is that she probably looks like her mother, too. That's probably the other thing motivating Viserys. God, why is this hole so long?
I will sit the throne today.
Your Grace.
As long as you remember who I am.
I will be fine.
Are you sure? I don't think you will be. This is a great imagery because, oh God, not the crown falling off. That is so symbolic. But the imagery of how that throne has been like the bane of this man's existence. Ooh, you made it. High five. Maybe not. You only have 1 hand. And that symbolism of Daemon putting the crown on his head. Now, will they listen to him? Because he's been high for like 6 months.
I do not understand why petitions are being heard over a settled succession. Only one keener insight into Lord Corlys's wishes is the Princess Rhaenys.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed, Your Grace.
That's right. That's right. Remind Vaemond. You really thought that man was dead, didn't you? I mean, we all did, but it's not the point.
As a matter of fact, the Princess Rhaenyra has just informed me of her desire to marry her sons Jace and Luke to Lord Corlys's granddaughters, Baela and Rhaena. A proposal to which I heartily agree.
Okay.
The matter is settled. Again.
Why is this kid smiling?
Princess Aerys of House Velaryon is heir to Driftmark, the Driftwood throne, and the next Lord of the Tides.
Peary.
I will not allow it.
Oh.
Allow it.
Yeah, exactly. No one asked you.
That is no true Velaryon.
Racist.
You no more than the second son of Driftmark.
I will not see it ended on the account of this.
Say it.
Say it.
Exactly. Say it. I dare you.
Her children
are
bastards!
Okay, well, I definitely give him balls for saying it.
Is a whore.
Recover your tongue for that.
That was the hardest thing Damon's ever done. That's what happens when you act up.
I will not close my mind. I must put things right.
Wow. I mean, Daemon did warn him. Anyone else want to start shooting their mouth off? So I thought. I feel like Rhaenyra needs to be... Oh, you're going to put them back together? Don't see that happening. But House Velaryon be falling like flies right now, though. Thank goodness for Baela and Rhaena, which no one ever seems to mention as Velaryon blood. Oh, what a cool shot. I don't think it needed to come to this, but Vaemond had to keep pushing, and he did not have... See, you know, his brother had smarts. He went about it smartly. This guy, too loud. Most awkward dinner ever. Can that thing be... Can Daemon cut his head off too?
How good it is to see you all tonight. Together.
And to Vaemond Velaryon, may the gods give him rest.
Daemon ever smirking.
Let us toast as well, Princess Aerys, the future Lord of the Tides.
Hear, hear. You'll be great.
Aww.
You do know how the act is done, I assume. At least in principle.
Can Aegon just die? No, don't try to stand up, sir. You did enough standing today for like the next 6 lifetimes. Okay?
The faces most dear to me in all the world, yet grown so distant from each other.
Yeah. Oh, no, you don't have to take it off. It's fine. Please don't. We get it.
My own face. I wish you to see me as I am. Okay. Not just a king, but your father. Your brother. Your husband. Let us no longer hold ill feelings in our hearts.
These people do not have the heart for this speech.
Stand strong. But set aside your grievances, if not for the sake of the crown, and for the sake of this old man, who loves you all.
It's a beautiful speech, Viserys. It really was. There's way too much drama here.
I wish to raise my cup to Her Grace the Queen.
Oh.
I must admit that no one has stood more loyally by his side than his good wife.
This is true.
And for that, she has my gratitude. And my apology.
She took the bigger step. David,
We're both mothers. You will make a fine queen.
On his face. Excuse me? The part that's sad is that deep down, Alicent did want her to be queen, but she let that damn fear of her father's get in her head, take seed in her heart, and that's exactly why we're here. It's all well and good, but these kids, look at this one, just like his grandfather.
But if you ever wish to know what it is to be well satisfied, all you have to do is ask.
God, don't let him goad you. Although I'll forgive it because you're like 17. What's up, One Eye? What rudeness you about to say now? What's up, One Eye? Say something stupid, please. Damon's blade is still sharp.
It isn't so bad. Mostly he just ignores you. Except sometimes when he's drunk.
Damn. I mean, it's probably a good thing. She's still weird. Alice is like, I'm so embarrassed. They're all mine. Say what you want about Rhaenyra, but her children are a testament to how much better of a parent she's been than Alicent has. Look at Alicent's children versus Rhaenyra's. Rhaenyra's got her faults, but her children at least have more class in their pinky toes than all three of Alicent's children. Although I'm not even gonna come for the daughter because she ain't so right. I'm thankful they gave him one last happy night, even if he knows most of it probably wasn't real. And it's super sad because, you know, it's all that Viserys ever wanted is what he's seeing right now. Like, he wants it to be real, but just didn't go about it the right way. Thanks for coming out, Pops.
Each of them handsome, wise.
Like their father?
Strong.
Payment.
Come.
Ha ha ha.
Do you not think yourself strong?
Wow, Dad wasn't even out of the room for 5 seconds.
Go to your quarters. All of you go, now.
You ugly little jerk. I love it. Damon's like, make a move. Make a move, One Eye.
I'll, return on Dragonback.
The king and I would both like that.
Interesting. Also interesting that the children didn't, or that no one really acknowledged the children that she had with Daemon in these speeches, but I guess they're too new.
It's been quite a night at the castle, Sims.
Oh, her again. She trading in secrets now? I mean, she did say she's not the kind of girl to sit around. Making her way up. To just be constantly suffering like that, though, oof.
I'm sorry.
You really have to be a loving wife to be stroking that hand, man. After a little napkin between it or something, you know?
Our son.
The first one.
His dream.
Oh no, don't tell her.
The prince that was promised.
I don't understand myself.
No, I guess he's too high to know the difference.
Against the cold. In the dark. It is you. You must do this.
Well, he thinks he's talking to Rhaenyra. That's why. They did such a good job with the sound design. His breathing sounds horrible.
I understand, my king.
Do you? Interesting shot. I don't like this. Why are we lingering on this scene? Oh, not the final tear. Why do I think he might have seen his wife in that scene? Ah, and there we are, the end. Wow. Okay, guys, what an episode that was. Whew, things are definitely getting more and more twisted, one might say, but that's the way of Game of Thrones. So many things to look at in this episode. I think one of the things that stood out to me, though, outside of all the politicking, of course, is I love that this show shows that no character is 100% like good or bad, that they're all multifaceted and complicated. And we kind of see this again with Alicent. You know, we've definitely been through the gambit with Alicent. like overall, I'm not exactly impressed with her character because I do think that she knows what's right, but she's allowing her paranoia and fear to kind of drive her decisions. Because we got to remember that way back in episode 1, her and Rhaenyra were best friends, like they were essentially sisters. And because of the politicking of Otto, as well as just overall ambitions and the way that things get messed up when you're young and you don't know better, they've gotten to this place where they're so opposed to each other that their children are ready to kill each other. And I don't think, neither Alicent or Rhaenyra ever envisioned this for themselves. If you talk to their 15-year-old selves, they never would have envisioned that things would be where they are right now. They probably wanted their children to be friends and to have the same closeness that they enjoyed as young people. And now it's like, nope, we now have this situation where we're fighting over this crown. We're fighting over this situation. And we got to see a little bit more of the Alicent we saw back in like episode 1, episode 2, where she's kind of torn between her love and respect for Rhaenyra as a friend and her own fears around her children's lives, although I don't think she's as scared for that anymore because they're a bit older and able to take care of themselves now. But still, her father's ambition has affected her, and she has her own ambitions too. Like, she's been queen for a long time. She's enjoyed this power for a while. So she has her own ambitions where that's concerned. But it's not that simple anymore, right? For her to maintain power, for House Green to maintain power, that means that Rhaenyra and her family can't maintain power. And so this is what continuously stays, is this wall between the two of them, even though, as we saw after that speech, which I thought was really well done by Rhaenyra and honest of her, around the fact that Alicent, she's got a lot of faults, but we can't argue that she's not been a loyal wife to Viserys. Like, she really has been there, and she's shown care and respect to him long before all this happened, right? Like, she had her own issues, obviously, but, if we were to look at it objectively, Viserys has never really stood up for her as a husband, right? Like, he's very much used her as a vessel to produce more children. He has affection for her, sure, but he made it very clear on numerous occasions that Rhaenyra and his late wife, Aemma, were like his real family in his mind, right? Alicent and her kids are like his duty, whereas, Aemma and Rhaenyra are his family. And she's always felt that, and that can't be easy, considering the fact that she was essentially pushed into marrying a man old enough to be her grandfather, really, and then having to have his children and having to deal with him being sickly the entire time as well. It's a lot to go through all that and then find out that that man doesn't even view you as like his true wife. And we even saw it again in this episode when Viserys said to Rhaenyra, my only child, right? That's a huge statement for him to say when he knows he's got 4 children now. So it's a lot for Alicent. And like I said, I'm not excusing her. I still think she's made a lot of choices that were selfish and also just blinded by her own ambition and fear, but she's still a human. And I think, seeing her vacillate back and forth between all of this. We've seen through the whole thing, though, that Alicent's never been 100% down for the evil side of things. But in the end, your decisions are what matter. Your actions are what matter, not necessarily the vacillation and the woulda, coulda, shouldas that you could have done. So very interesting to see a little bit more of her in there. And I do think she meant what she said to Rhaenyra at the end. I think it meant a lot to her to hear Rhaenyra acknowledge that she sacrificed a lot to be the queen and to be the wife of Viserys. But again, this Game of Thrones is always happening, so she can't let her guard all the way down. And so we saw her kind of go right back to, I think, to where she was before when she hears about this Song of Ice and Fire, which she's never heard about, of course, which she wasn't supposed to hear about. But I think, again, she feels like, how come I've never heard about this? And clearly her children never heard about it either, which means that, once again, Viserys chose which child or which children he wants to pass his legacy on to. Going on to Rhaenyra and Daemon, they seem to be working really well as a couple. Not surprised, though, they very much have the same ambitions, so to speak, as far as keeping Targaryens on the throne and keeping House Green from continuing on. I didn't realize that in this time jump, they said it was 6 years, 6 or 7 years. Rhaenyra's been busy, 3 kids in now. She's pregnant with her 3rd. She already had 2 more for Daemon already, so she wasted no time. And we can already see that those kids favor, the Targaryen side as opposed to the way that her other kids look. So like I said, I don't know that that was a good idea for her to push out kids quickly, but I know why she did it. Interesting, though, that we see that Corlys is now on the brink of death. He apparently was out sailing, got assaulted, and now he's basically fighting for his life. And we saw that Vaemond, another second son, or third son, I think in this case, fighting really hard to get Driftmark because he feels like, I think he's felt like he's entitled to it for a long time, but obviously he knows that these sons of Rhaenyra who are supposed to be Laenors are not Laenors, and they don't look anything like Laenor, etc. And so he thought he would make his claim for the throne, but as I said in the episode, he was messy about it. Unlike his brother Corlys, who had his ambitions, Corlys was always smart about how he went about it, whereas Vaemon just kind of tried to strong arm his way through. And while Vaemon definitely would have had some support, House Green is still not the most significant part of this realm. And I think once again, Vaemon underestimated the power that Rhaenyra has with her father, the amount of connection between the two of them. And I love that. I showed in the episode, I really, really love how Viserys pulled his quite literally decaying self out of bed, got off the medication, and sat there clearly in excruciating pain, but he was so determined to stand up for his baby girl and his brother by extension by sitting on that throne and saying, like, if this is the last thing I do as king, which I think it very much was, I'm going to set this. I'm going to make sure this at least is solidified. Of course he knows it's not the truth. He knows that those are not true-born grandchildren, but they are his grandchildren. And Rhaenyra, as he said, he feels like that's his one true daughter, so he wasn't going to go without trying at least to help set this right before he went out. And of course, Vaemond was mad because he realized in that second that he placed all of his eggs in the basket of Otto and the Queen being the only voice out there. He did not expect the king to show up and stand up for his baby girl. So we saw that he basically threw a tantrum. Basically, he was like, you know, I'm going to say what everybody else is thinking, but that was the wrong place to do it. And I love that Daemon looked at him and said, say it. I dare you to say the word. You say it right now in front of me. Vaemon should have known. Vaemon's known Daemon a long ass time. He should have known that that was not going to end well for him. And since the king said, I'd have your tongue for it, he wasn't able to do it, so Daemon just did what the king asked. Let's be real. I mean, he would have done it anyways, but I gotta admit, like I said, Daemon, he's a problematic guy. You know, I'm never gonna be 100% team Daemon, but that was a badass move, and I appreciate it on behalf of the children. And I said this because as in the episode, I mentioned many times, the saddest part about it is that the kids are paying the ultimate price for Rhaenyra's carelessness in this situation. Like, they already know. Like, deep down, they know this is the truth, but they gotta play this game for their own lives, quite frankly. And the fact that they have to keep hearing themselves be slandered and hear people talk down about them and their family, like, that's exhausting. It's really unfair to them, but this is what Rhaenyra brought on them by doing this. But again, if we want to make a bigger extension of it, Viserys also should have been much more firm about standing behind Rhaenyra this whole time, even if it meant that he made some enemies in the realm. And I said that a while ago. Viserys's vacillation is a big reason for all this pain and suffering. But anyway, he did his best to set it right. Like, I thought that was very interesting that he said that when he was leaving the throne. I have to set this right. I have to set this right. So I think deep down Viserys realizes that he should have been firmer about this, but he's always struggled with this his entire reign. We've seen it. Like, he wants to be this good, people-pleasing king, but this is not the realm for it. He needs to stand on his own 2 feet. And looking back on the way things have transpired over these episodes, like what Daemon said in episode 1 was much clearer now about how he said that he needed someone like Daemon to be his hand, who was going to see Viserys's weakness and be the person to be his backbone. But I don't think that Daemon would have been the right person back then, but I understand what Daemon was saying now. Like, Viserys needs someone to kind of offset that people-pleasing side of Viserys, because that's the part that Otto definitely took advantage of all these years. The only other note I wanted to kind of talk about was the kids, where they are now. Like, these kids are all now, I guess, in their late teens, 17, 18, 19 years old now. We see that Viserys is now married to his sister, and it looks like for the most part he's keeping it a marriage in name only, which I'm not against at all, because we all know a sibling thing. But unfortunately we see that he is still acting out. We saw this in the last episode, that he's basically just a heathen. He just wants to mess around and just be gross, and it looks like he's unfortunately forcing himself on servants, which I knew it was already showing itself in the last episode, and that his mother is cleaning up his messes. And like I said, that just disgusts me. This is why I can't get on Team Alicent. Like, the fact that she's covering for him, I'm fairly certain she killed that first girl we saw there. Like, she gave her the drink that I think was supposed to look like it was the tea for the baby, but I think it was probably to take care of her entirely so that she wouldn't tell anybody else about what happened. And it sounds like this is not the first time he's done this, Aegon. So he's going to be a problem, and this is another reason he cannot sit the throne. Right? He is definitely not the right person to sit the throne. He's just such a craven, and he has no, like, as he said to his mother, like, I didn't ask for this, I didn't want this. And I do see where he's coming coming from, in the sense of that Alicent has been pushing him to be something he's not from the get-go. Like, he really does not want to be king. He doesn't want the responsibility. He's more than happy to just be a rich, spoiled kid. And unfortunately, he's under the weight of all of this responsibility. And I think he takes a lot of that from his father, sadly, seeing how Viserys has vacillated under the crown. But it doesn't excuse his behavior, by the way. I'm not excusing that at all. He's still absolute trash for what he's doing to these girls, but also being enabled to do because of his mother and his grandfather. So I'm wondering, though, like, now that we know that Daemon's old prostitute lady has got a spy inside the palace, these kind of things might come to light, might turn out to be something valuable they can use against him. But anyways, just seeing him, you know, how Aegon's basically just descended into even worse situations. And don't even get me started on One Eye. I can't think of his name right now. Like, I never liked that kid, to be honest, but yeah, it's gotten even worse this episode. He's just become very vile and hateful. Unsurprising. Like I said, I have nothing to say about the daughter because she's clearly still out there. But as I said in the episode, it's really telling the difference between Rhaenyra's kids and Alicent's kids about the kind of environment they've been raised in, right? Like I said, Rhaenyra's been messy. Rhaenyra definitely has her faults, but the proof to me is in her children. Like, her sons are both, from the looks of things, kind, respectful children. And they definitely have respect for women, which is huge for those times. And that's a huge testament to me, is the way that both Rhaenyra and, to an extent, Laenor, before he left, raised those kids. And, like, which one would you prefer to see on the throne, right? I'd muchly prefer to see the children of Rhaenyra at this point on the throne than to see any of Alicent's children on the throne, because at this point, it's scary stuff. So yeah, interesting episode, definitely wrought with lots of tension, a lot of Game of Thronesy type stuff. At this point, you know, I'm still Team Rhaenyra for now as far as being on the throne. Oh yeah, I guess I should just mildly touch on the situation between her and Rhaenys. Rhaenys definitely had an opportunity here to kind of get a little revenge on Rhaenyra, especially considering the fact that she believes that Rhaenyra is behind Laenor's death. But the fact that she ended up standing and backing Rhaenyra in this situation, I do think it was a bit self-serving, because I don't think she wants to keep Driftmark in her family and not going over to Vaemond. But I do think she respects Rhaenyra on some level. And I think that's something I said a couple episodes ago, that they both had very similar situations with almost becoming queens and having a lot of opposition. But I do think Rhaenys has a respect for Rhaenyra, and the fact that Rhaenyra has been fighting in her own way, even if it is messy and complicated. But I'm glad in the end that she decided not to throw Rhaenyra under the bus, because it really wouldn't have done anything to help her, or Driftmark for that matter. So we'll see how their relationship goes in the future, or if the time will ever come where Rhaenyra can tell her the truth about Laenor, especially if Corlys does die. I do think she might tell Rhaenyra the truth, or she might tell Rhaenys the truth if Corlys passes, because I do think that Rhaenys is the one person that wouldn't be upset about Laenor being alive but not taking on his kingly responsibility or his princely responsibility by coming over to Driftmark, especially now that Vaemond's no longer in question. So interesting episode, guys. Lots of stuff going down. I am so glad I finally got to catch up on this, and I'm ready to get on to the next episode, because I can't believe I'm already 2 episodes behind, but this was so much fun to watch. What are you guys thinking? Whose team are you on? Do you think anyone's in the right or wrong after this episode? Please let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, I'd appreciate it if you give this video a thumbs up, and we will see you in the next one.